So as you saw in the first video, I didn't make it to complete this one. Now we have time to calculate those. So for the commissions, we do the numbers 14,000, which is the total 14,800 minus 1,200 for the first product, 300 for the 3,000 for the second product, and the total left is 10,600. And the same goes for even for the distribution to the warehouse, which is indirect, and you can calculate that using this number 199,500 divided by the total kilograms multiplied by that part. But since we know the total and we know the first product and second product, we just calculate the third one using deduction. So 10,000 in total, I have 10,900 minus 1,090 minus 2,180. It gives me 7,630. So if you add those two numbers, this and deduct this phone number from this to get the contribution for each of those. So that would be first problem. So we are done with the first problem. Let's go to the second one. So again, I put everything here so you can read the question, and I will start solving it as soon as you're ready. So pause the video. Here we have two different departments, machining and finishing. So the total direct material that we use is $400,000 and direct labor that we use is 90,000 and indirect production is 40,000. So the question told us that the machining department use 50% of direct material and 10% direct labor. So for the direct material, 50% of that 400,000 is 200,000, and as a result the remaining goes to the finishing, so which is 50% again, so it's 200,000 again. And for as a labor, it's just 10% over here, so it's a 9,000. The rest goes to the finishing, since the total is 90,000 and 9,000 is over here. 81,000 goes to finishing department. So as a total, we have to have the same number here. So it's a 400,000 and here is 990,000. And I already know that the indirect production is 40,000 here. And the question told us that the indirect production cost amounted 10,000 in the machining department and 30,000. So there's no calculation here. We just put the numbers in. And the question again says the total is $530,000. And I have to add these numbers together. So it will be 219,000 and it will be 311,000. Great. Now the question asks us to calculate for each of these products. So let's put this here. It says complete the total cost of each product, and extra over here it says indirect production costs incurred by each department were allocated to the products in proportion to the direct labor cost. So for a direct material, it's obvious. So 20% of the direct material of the department of machining goes to the product alpha. So 200,000, 20% is 40,000. 40,000. And that was 40. So how much goes here? 60% of the finishing department is the same number, so it's 120,000. As a direct labor, 50% of the cost of labor in a machining department is for the product alpha. So the machining department, the labor is 9,000. 50% of that is 4,500. The same goes for the direct labor in finishing department. So 10% of direct labor of the machine, the finishing department, is going to the alpha. How much is the total direct labor for the finishing? 81,000. So the 10% is 8,100. As of indirect production goes, the question says it's the same as a direct labor. So you use the same number. So for alpha, 50% of indirect production goes to the alpha. So the production is 10,000. I will use 5,000 here. And 10% of the indirect, which is 3,000, is for the indirect production. All the other columns are just the summation. So $160,000, 12,600, 12,600, 8,000. Over here it will be 49,500, and the final one 131,100. So the total will be 180 and 600. Let's see if I didn't mess that up. It's just everything all over again just for the beta. So I strongly suggest to do it by hand and then check with me. So if you want to do that, pause the video and go solve it. So the direct labor for beta is 40% of 200, so it's 80,000. Direct labor is 50%, so 50% of 9,000. Sorry, 10%. I don't mess that up because we are talking about the beta. So 10%. So 10% of the 9,000 is 900. And the indirect production cost is 10% again. So 10% of 10,000 is a 1,000. 1,000. And the total will be 81,900. For the finishing department, 30% and 20%. So 30% of 200,000 is 60,000, and the total here is 140. The direct labor is 20% of 81,000, so it's 16,200. The summation will be 17,100, not 1000, 17,100. And the indirect cost is again 20% of 30,000, which is 600,000. So over here is 7,000. Over here it would be 82,200. The summation over here is 164 and 100. Again, the same, everything is the same, but the easiest way to calculate the last one is not using the percentage. So we have the total, we have these two, so we end up with this number. So 80,000 and 40,000 is 120,000, and we have 200,000 here. So what's left? 80,000 here. Some of you, it's just easy to use the percentage. I will use this one. So for the direct labor, I use this much here, this much here. What left at the end, you have to calculate it, is 3,600. And as of the indirect production, 1,000 here, 5,000 there, and we have 10K, so 4,000 left here. And our video will be ending in 20 seconds. This time I'll try to put all of the numbers in. So you can solve it, and I will go to the next question. See if I can make it this time. The rest is just a summation, so I put everything in. See you in the next.